Hi, I am Angel Ribo with Mindalia TV, and we are here today with Dr. Denise McDermott. Hi Denise, how are you?
Great, I'm so happy to be here today.
We are absolutely thrilled to have you here too. Thank you very much. So to start the conversation with, I would definitely like to know what keeps you passionate every day?
You know, I actually have to say that connecting with another human being on a soul-to-soul level, I can't even put into words. I work with children, I work with adults, and you know, I have to tell you, my son also keeps me really passionate. So seeing my patients and then my son keeps me really alive.
Wow, nice.
He's energetic.
Oh, he's energetic?
Very energetic.
Excellent, I love that. How do you connect with someone else's soul, Denise?
Well, when people come to see me, they're usually in crisis. It's usually their most difficult time in their life when they come to see a psychiatrist. So what I do first is I really just stay in the moment and check in with them. And because I work with all ages, I often say, was it your idea to come here? So I get there right in the moment and I can connect and see. It's really on a level that linear language can't quite explain. You really have to connect with their energy, their awareness, pick up if they're nervous, and just check in with them. And also, I think laughter is good. I think keeping a great sense of humor is really important when you're connecting with someone.
Is it the same with adults and with kids?
I think it's different because I work with all ages. I have to tell you, sometimes kids come to my office and their parents just told them in the car, you're going to Dr. Denise. So if they just are thinking they're about to play their video game or something and then all of a sudden they're in your doctor's office, you're going to handle that differently. So I think it depends on the intention and the person's knowing they're coming and why they're coming. So it varies.
Okay, so it doesn't depend on the age then?
No,
the way you...
it's the person, because sometimes there's teenagers that are old souls. I have a 10-year-old who's dealt with medical issues since he was very young, and he has the wisdom of someone much older than many 10-year-olds. So I think that is actually, when you're talking about the soul, I think that's such an interesting word, because if people believe that the soul is eternal, there are different people that are older souls. So the chronological age in the material realm, whether they're 10 or 25 or 30, can be very different in how mature they are.
So how would you define soul?
Well, I think soul is something beyond this realm. I think that we're here as human beings in the material sense, but then I think we're energy beings. So we're here, we're connected. You and I are here physically, right? But then we have our energy being. And for me personally, when I talk to children or adults, I ask them, I'm like, what are your beliefs about the soul? So I connect with their beliefs. So I don't want to put that on them. And then I talk about that we're all connected on an energy level. So the soul's eternal. It's something that's beyond this realm. And I don't put my belief system on others, but I believe that it's something that's connected to source, whether you want to say God, Buddha, ascended masters, and that we're really all one collective. So we're individuals in the material sense, but in the post-material sense, there's energy. We all have energy fields, and we connect, and there's an energy vibration. And we've all experienced different life experiences, so our vibration might be different. It might be coming from a place of higher love, a place of fear, and it can change at different times too.
So let's say I go to visit you because I need some help.
Right.
Would you right away ask me what I think about or how to connect with my soul, your soul? How would that work?
Well, I have to be honest with you. In this lifetime, I think we all have different costumes that we're playing. So I'm deciding to stay as the adult and child psychiatrist, MD. I have my Western training, but I value my Eastern understanding, my spiritual beliefs. So if you were coming to me, the first thing I would do is just connect with you, say, how are you today? And I would say, what are you here for? So I would ask you what you're wanting help with. And then in the interview, I usually say, you know, what's your best version of you? So I connect with your passion and your interests and your likes. And then I would decide, I kind of use my own intuition as to what's appropriate to bring up the word soul. So it's not something that's like right away you come in my waiting room like, hey, let's talk about the soul.
All right.
It's more connecting with you as a person and why you're there for help. And usually when someone comes to see an adult and child psychiatrist, they've seen many different people, and they might have very severe depression or anxiety. And so I ask the Western medicine, biological, psychological, social, and then I look at sort of what's going on and look if there's other spiritual things that they're bringing up in conversation. So I really fine tune it to each person.
Do you think that what would happen if we were able as humans to connect our souls among us?
Well, actually, I think that happens all the time, but we just don't know it. I think that our thoughts, feelings, and actions, like all of us right here today, we're all connecting. There's an energy vibration. So I think it happens all the time, but we just don't think of it that way. And so when I do have a deeper conversation with a child, teen, or adult, and we're talking about the soul, okay, so let's pretend you're here and I'm here, and you have a cartoon bubble and I have a cartoon bubble, right?
Okay.
And so I look at it as we're all like one humanity. But then I look at it even further, that we connect on a soul level. So we have the ability, if we want to believe, and if it's in our belief system, we can connect to our ancestors, God, Buddha, and that we have access to it all the time. So I think it's just it depends on what your own belief system is.
I would like to ask you now a question about the kids. What do you think about how easy or how difficult it is to access their richness, their wealth of the interior world that they have?
Well, you know what I like to do? I get down on the ground and I play with kids. So when they're coming to my office, I let them pick a game that they want to. So we might play like Jenga or Connect Four, and children are so fun, and you get to know their imaginations. And so I think when you're in a space of play, and actually I love the word recreation, recreate. When you're in that vibration, I think everyone's guard is down. So with connecting with children, when I'm playing with them, then I might say to them, like, what are things you want to work on? And they know I'm a feelings doctor. I call myself a feelings doctor when I work with children. And so then they start to talk about their feelings, or I like this teacher. And I might ask them, like, if you could design the perfect school, what would it be like? What's going on at home? So that's the way I relate to children, through play and then hearing their ideas. And kids are so connected and so innocent that sometimes when you get in that space, they just start telling you exactly what they need help with.
What are your feelings, your emotions when you're dealing with kids?
Well, it depends on the situation. I see children that have learning issues, attention issues, anxiety. I have a child in my practice I have worked with children that have terminal illness. So it just kind of depends on the situation. I think kids are so refreshing. It's a really neat part of my day because I work with kids and adults. So I love it. I love it. And also, I think our children and the universe really ground us. So it's a privilege to know them and to be there to see what they need help with. But I feel like I always remember how precious life is when I work with kids.
Excellent. Mm-hmm. I would like to know more about, when we talk about medicine, traditional medicine, mm-hmm. we talk about connecting with the soul. At the first sight, it looks like very unconnected, areas or mm-hmm. avenues. How do you connect both of them and you feel, grounded and good with yourself?
As a doctor?
Yes.
So a couple things. I'm very glad I went to medical school. I look at medicine as only one tool in my toolbox. And one thing that I've done since the very start is I've worked for myself. So I'm very fortunate in the sense that I never worked with insurance companies or people telling me what to do, telling me I only have a short amount of time with people. So the way I practice medicine is a very long connectedness. I have the real relationship. And so I really take a mind, body, soul perspective. So you ask, how do I connect? I get to know them. I hear, are they having fears? Are they having anxiety? Are they having depression? And then I go deeper. Is it with their family? Is it their spiritual beliefs? And then I have to tease out, might medicine be one tool in the toolbox? So people usually let their guard down because I spend lots of time with my patients. They know I'm not just checking off boxes like, are you depressed? Are you sad? No, I get to really know them. And so I think my own really human soul-to-soul connection is felt very, very quickly. And even on the phone, I connect with my patients. I don't have my assistant call them back. I always talk to them first. So I get an idea. So we already have connected. So it's hard to explain. I hope that answers
Oh
the
yeah,
question.
no, it's very clear. Thank you. Was there any defining moment in your life that made you do what you do today?
There were a couple times. So when I was a third-year medical student, you go through rotations, and every rotation, internal medicine, surgery, psychiatry, I ended up going and asking people questions, and they would tell me things like about their alcoholism, or one girl who just moved here from Africa, she was getting bullied because her skin color was darker than other kids, and she had told people she had a tummy ache and she wasn't feeling good that day. But then when I went in the room in med school, she told me she wanted to kill herself. So what ended up happening is every rotation I did in medical school, I realized that this was my natural gift and that people just told me their deeper secrets. And then I will tell you, I had a family member, fourth year of medical school, that almost killed themselves. Oh my gosh.
Wow.
But guess what? I asked all the right questions. I came home from medical school. I helped that person to now thrive as a family member.
Excellent.
So it was kind of a lot of factors.
Excellent, excellent. You mentioned before that you have a podcast. What's the funniest moment you've ever had at that podcast that you remember now?
Wow. You know, actually, I don't know if it was the funniest, but the most, oh my goodness, I was interviewing someone who is an ex-MMA fighter, and he has concussion syndrome, and I didn't expect him to start talking about choking someone on air. And so it was more like, it wasn't funny, but it was like, oh my goodness, where am I going to go with this? Because I mean, he didn't mean it to sound so mean, but it did. And I was like, this is supposed to be a healing podcast. so I had to listen to his process and then shift it. And I think because he was such an athlete and used to doing KOs, talking about choking for him was just more like a normal thing. And for me, I was like, oh, when I heard it, I was like, oh no. So it was more like, So I think I handled it pretty well. In fact, that was my first show. So sometimes we learn a lot from our first show.
For sure, for sure. You mentioned before that traditional medicine is one of the tools in your toolbox. Mm-hmm. Are you looking to incorporate more tools into your toolbox in the near future?
Well, I actually do that now. I think when we were talking a little bit earlier off camera, I have done some work where I've gone and I've met with quantum physicists, I've trained in remote viewing, and so I see endpoints, and so what I do is I integrate that kind of discussion. I talk about the 5 senses with my patients, but then I talk about awareness, the concept of awareness, and that there's other senses that we have. So at this time in my private practice, I'm integrating those tools already, and then I've done intuition workshops with practicing mediums. We did that in 2014, and we were a little ahead of ourselves. So we're going to do more of that, because you have to be very mindful when you're an MD and you're branching out and you're working with mediums and different people. You have to have a framework. There's liability insurance. So I'm integrating intuition, awareness, mindfulness, meditation tools every day in my practice.
Wow. Impressing. I would like to end the conversation with you, please, suggesting or giving a piece of advice to our audience, or millions of Mindalia television viewers. So please go ahead.
Well, I think just to keep it really pure and really simple, I think we are here to be loving and to be kind. And I think one piece of advice that I would give to all ages is that we have to be our own best friend. So we have to be true to ourselves. And when we're true to ourselves, we're in soul alignment. And I think a lot of times some of the spiritual words get overused. So I like to keep it really simple with be your own best friend, stay in a space of love, kindness, and service to yourself and others.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much, Dr. Denise. It's been a pleasure, real pleasure to have you here today.
Thank you. And thank you so much for laughing with me and also being with me in that moment that I needed.
Of course, absolutely. Again, this is Angel Ribo with Mindalia TV. Thank you very much for being here with us today.